Well, hello and welcome to my tutorial on pivot chords, the key changer. Now, a little while ago I posted a tutorial on modulation. I explained various ways of moving abruptly or smoothly from one key to another. I also briefly discussed pivot chords and how they work. I would like to revisit pivot chords in a little more detail. Now, these chords are usually diatonic and show up in more than one key. For instance, D minor is the 2 chord of C, 1, 2. Well, it's also the 6 chord, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in the key of F. Not to mention the 3 chord, 1, 2, 3, in the key of B flat. The bottom line is that pivot chords aid in creating a smooth transition from one key to another, arriving on them in one key and leaving them in another. The melody also plays a responsibility to move in the direction of the new key. In other words, if I have a 6 chord that is in one key versus a 2 chord in another key and they're the same chord, when I decide that that is the pivot chord, that's where I'm going to leave the key that I'm in and start my new direction, then I don't look back over my shoulder. Both melodically and harmonically, I am focused in the direction of the new key. Now, there are times when a composer or arranger is looking for an abrupt modulation into a new key. The intent in those cases is to let everyone know, quote, "I've decided to change the key and everyone is going to know about it," unquote. Usually, but not necessarily, the modulation moves in an upward movement, like a C up a step to D flat, or a leap up to E flat, or even the key of E in the case of Sinatra's "One for My Baby, One More for the Road." Now, if I look at that Doris Day song way back called "Que Sera Sera," made famous by the Alfred Hitchcock movie The Man Who Knew Too Much, co-starring James Stewart, is basically made up of 2 8-bar sentences repeated 3 or 4 times, I can't remember. Now, I could do an abrupt modulation between the 2 sentences, between bar 8 and bar 9. Now, whether you would really want to do that is entirely another question altogether. However, let's take a look at the possibility. Maybe your mother sang the song to you when you're very young. Let's give it a listen. Even the most untrained ear knows something happened to the music, which is obviously the arranger's attention. Not surprising, I was playing it in B flat, 2 flats, and I moved it into the key of B, 5 sharps, 8 accidentals apart. You're bound to hear something happening. Now, anybody over the age of 60 will remember, of course, the Everly Brothers' Dream. Not familiar? I'll Google them. Great group, 2 brothers, and they had a lot of hits. Now, the chord progression is just your basic 1, 6, 4, 5. I will pick it up at the beginning of the 2nd verse, of course still in the key of C, and I'm going to move it into the key of F before I reach the bridge, or sometimes called the release. Let's give it a listen. Firmly in the key of F. How did I get there? Well, started of course off in the key of C, 4, 1, 6, 4. Now I double up on the chords down to the F. This I designate as my pivot chord. It's the 4 chord in the key of C. Forgetting about that, I am now looking at this being the tonic chord of the new key that I want, the key of F. Now I'm onto the 6. A little bit of melody manipulation here to help push me into the new key. And into the key of F. Reinforcing it by going to the 4 chord and plagal cadence back, resting on the 1 chord, firmly changed into the key of F. Now sometimes the composer will purposely confuse the listener by obscuring the key itself. Bacharach was famous for doing that in such songs as Close to You and also What the World Needs Now. When this happens, there's ample opportunity for you to create a smooth modulation into other keys. In this case, Close to You, the introduction in the first chord starts on C. Well, you'd actually think you were in the key of C unless you looked at the key signature, but it starts off C, which is actually the 4 chord. A little tonicization here. 3 chord of G to the 6 chord. Even though it started off on C. Now I'm going to do the second verse starting in the same place on the 4 chord C, but I'm going to end up in the key of C. Let's see how that happens. Definitely into the key of C. Where was the switch? Well, let's take a close look. E minor. This is going to be my pivot chord. In the key of G, it's the 6th chord, but not in my mind anymore because it's going to be the 3 chord of C, taking it up to the 6th chord of C and walking it down. Right into the key of C. In the song Since I Fell for You, in the key of B flat, the composer uses the chord that is not diatonic to the key of B flat, or the key that I want to go to, the key of E flat. Again, this will present opportunities to create a smooth modulation into other keys. Let's give it a listen. Starts off the same way as Dream did, on a 1, 6, 4, 5. He introduces that augmented 9th. Now you think there's going to be probably some different kinds of harmony coming in here, and he doesn't let us down. Change in E flat, B flat, I think I'm there now. Yeah, I'm definitely there. Was a change? It was tricky. There's the chord I was talking about. A flat, in this case A flat 13, in the key B flat doesn't exist. It's a flat 7 chord. It's not diatonic to the key. And it's not diatonic to the key of E flat either, the one that I want to take the song to. Oh, A flat's in the key signature, of course, but it's usually heard as a major chord, like a 6 or a major 7 or major 9. Here it's heard as a dominant. Falls onto the G minor. That would be the 6th chord in B flat, but it's my pivot chord. I'm not even going to think of that. I'm thinking it as the 3 chord in the key of E flat. Falling onto the 2 chord, you can see there. Up to the 5 chord. And 5 takes us to 1. That's a lot of fun. Pivot chords can really do a lot for your music. Pivot around here and send you off in a different direction. Look, I hope I shed a little light for you on the pivot chords and how they work. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. I wish you all the very best. Stay safe. Until the next time, bye for now.